people were at the funeral. The whole town must have turned out.
That's not surprising. You see, we looked on Miss Emily as a tradition, a duty, a care, sort of hereditary obligation upon the town. People came to the funeral as a respectful affection for a fallen monument. Of course, some came to see the inside of this house. Nobody set foot here for the last 10 years, except Miss Emily, of course, and her servant Otto.
Dewey, are you all up there?
We're here, Miss Tate.
Is it okay if we come up, Joey?
Of course. I'd be curious too if I'd lived in the shadow of this house all my life.
You all come on up, Regus. But be careful. Those stairs are steeper than the ribs on a washboard.
I appreciate you escorting me up here, Mr. Nix. I just didn't want to do the inventory on this part of the house all alone. It's so creepy in here. Goodness, what's this?
A corn cellar. Don't tell me you folks don't have corn cellars over in Birmingham.
I know what it is. I meant, what's it doing up here?
Your Aunt Emily used to shell the corn in here and throw it out the window to the chickens.
Why didn't she shell it out of the corn crib like other people?
Because in many ways, your Aunt Emily was not like other people.
My, would you look at this? Squalor. That's what it is, you Lola Holcomb. Just plain squalor.
It was a very rocking chair she was sitting in the night we sneaked in, sprinkled lime all over the place. Couldn't have been more than 20 back then.
Take it easy, General. One step at a time.
Silas Chambers. You got no call to be straightening up those stairs.
Not Elda. You know why? Of course you couldn't keep me out here. I want to see every nook and cranny in this place. I'm just as nosy as the rest of you.
Still no, don't be forgetting about your bad lung, General.
You look real nice at the funeral, Silas. Handsome uniform.
It was my daddy's, you know. He got killed right here in the Battle of Jefferson. That was 2 months after I was born.
Oh, Mr. Cartwright. I was hoping to see you again and thank you for picking me up at the station this morning.
It was nothing really. I had to pick up some packages anyway.
I must have looked a fright after riding all night without more than 10 winks of sleep.
I know, ma'am. You look just fine.
Why, thank you, Mr. Cartwright.
I'd be just as happy if you called me Will.
Then I will. Will?
It's too bad your father couldn't come to the funeral.
He had to stay home. Anyways, Papa will be here to settle Aunt Emily's estate. You call this an estate?
It's a house that we remember, Miss Meredith.
Why, this is the first time I've ever been here, Mr. Quentin.
You mean you never met your Aunt Emily before?
Never. Actually, she was my great aunt, but us wives were her closest relatives. Papa met her once or twice. He told me a little about her. Would you say she was a bit on the eccentric side?
It might be closer to the truth to say she had a rather large hole at the bottom of her ring barrel.
Elda!
I'm just answering the sweet things question.
What caused her to get that way?
Who can say?
Maybe it was just the vapors.
Or the sign she was born under.
Or even this house.
Or her daddy. He started anyways, putting in her head that the Griersons were a little better than everybody else.
Elda's right there. He kept telling Miss Emily that none of the young men in this town were good enough for her, but some of us did right well enough. If only he'd seen the way I act.
No question the man had a strong hold on her. Why, even when he died, she wouldn't admit it.
What do you mean?
I was one of the first to get here after it happened. I recall her voice. It was different than I'd ever heard it before. It was strong, but very strange. I remember it yet.
Tom? There seem to be some people here. To show them in.
May I ask why you all are here?
Miss Emily, words cannot express our sorrow. We insist on staying with you in this hour in need.
My wife is coming over with two rhubarb pies of Emily to help feed the moths.
I still don't understand why you all are here.
You know why we're here, Miss Emily. To grieve after your poor father who passed on yesterday.
My dad is not dead. We must obey the scriptures, Miss Emily. We must bury the dead.
My dear, rejection of a deep loss is understandable up to a point. But I, your family doctor of 18 years, pronounce your father deceased.
My dad is not dead.
How on earth did they get through to the poor thing?
They were about to resort to the law and force the way in, but she finally broke down.
They buried the man as quick as they could.
Well, I'm happy to report I've almost finished the inventory up here.
What about that door back there? Where does it lead?
For heaven's sake, I didn't even notice it. I hope somebody will stay with me while I inventory in there. This place gives me the willies.
I'll keep you company, Miss Meredith.
Why, thank you, Mr. Cart. Thank you, Will.
This door's locked.
Oh my!
Probably nothing but a closet anyway, or a storage area.
Then I'm not even going to waste my time with it. Why don't we all go down?
It's a bedroom.
How did you know that, Silas? He's been here before. He once came calling over here, you know.
The tape. Years have not slowed down your tongue one bit.
Well, if it is a bedroom, I guess I'd better write down everything that's in there so Papa can evaluate it properly. I wonder why the door's locked.
Tope's got the keys.
I'll bet he's around here somewhere.
I haven't seen him since he let us in this morning.
Joe, we need the keys to open up the door. You bring them up, you hear?
I wouldn't depend on him. He's as odd as she was.
When was the first time you noticed that Aunt Emily was a little different?
I never did think she was crazy.
Well, she was, Silas, but we understood why she acted the way she did when her father died. He had driven off all the young men, and now he was gone too. So with nothing left, she had to cling to that which robbed her, as people will.
And her daddy would have certainly driven away the next man too, but he was no longer allowed to do so.
Yes, sir, mighty fine town. Wouldn't mind hanging my hat here for a few months. But that decision's in the hands of the alderman.
I say we don't need it. Too much money.
I say we do need them. We need to protect those who walk from those who ride.
Here, here. The way some of these young whippersnappers fly up and down the streets on their horses and their buggies, a body's liable to get killed or worse.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it. Jefferson will commit to have sidewalks paved immediately.
I'm glad we voted for it, but I still don't see why the construction company has to have a Yankee for a foreman.
You must be Mr. Homer Barron.
Indeed I am.
Mighty impressive set of yours machinery, Mr. Barron. We're sure you'll do an able job here in Jefferson.
Don't work too hard though. Leave a little time for recreation. Feel free to join us for libations down at the Elks Club whenever you can.
And we have some lovely young ladies here in Jefferson, Mr. Barron. I understand you're not married.
Well, to be honest, I'd rather pour the cement than get stuck in it myself. But I'm certainly not above promenading with a handsome young lady after a hard day's work.
Or even before a hard day's work, I'd say. I saw you this morning Levy Taylor's oldest daughter having phosphate at Whitfield's drugstore.
Well, she was showing me the town. I was obliged to show her my appreciation.
I'm fine saying Jefferson, Mr. Barron.
I plan to. I certainly plan to. Afternoon, man. I'm Homer Barron.
Mr. Barron,
I'm the foreman of the sidewalk favor.
well, hope you have a pleasant stay here.
I'm sure I will. And the more people I get to know, the more I like it. That's why I'd be pleased to know you. Your name, at least.
My name's Emily Grissom. Now that we know one another, I'll bid you a good day.
Unless you're into Gosh All the Very, Miss Greason, I'd be pleased to buy you a strawberry phosphate over at the drugstore.
I'm afraid I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Some other time, then.
Perhaps.
Greason. Excuse me, ma'am. You wouldn't happen to be related to Samuel Greason, would you?
He was my daddy. He passed on recently.
I'm sorry to hear that.
How'd you know my daddy?
He was one of the early promoters of the sidewalk paving. He was on the committee that could call on our company for estimates and details. I recall he was particularly impressed.
He approved of you? Personally?
Yes, well, I mean, he approved of the firm, and me too, I suppose, since he knew I'd be the foreman of the job. I'm as sorry as I can be to hear of his passing. In a sense, I have him to thank, in part for my job here.
Yes. Especially if you had his personal approval. Well, I really must be going. Mr. Barron, I'll be home around 5. It's the largest house on Elm Street. Name's on the fence. If you come properly call in, I might be available for that phosphate. The drugstore's open until 6.
Yeah, I remember my folks talking about it when Miss Emily took up with Mr. Barron.
The whole town was talking about it from what I heard.
Everybody thought it was nice she finally had an interest.
Although we knew that a Grierson would not think seriously of a northerner. And when all was said and done, he really was nothing more than a day laborer.
Did she stop keeping company with him?
No.
When you care about somebody, their station in life shouldn't matter. Wouldn't you say so, Miss Meredith?
I quite agree.
I don't think Ocho's down there. If he is, he's keeping his distance.
Maybe I can jimmy this lock open with my pocket knife.
That doesn't work. I'll go out to the shed and get a crowbar.
I wonder why she locked that door in the first place.
Child, that woman had locks on many things. The doors to her house as well as the doors to her safe.
Was it Mr. Barron who made her the way she was? Obviously, she was quite interested in him.
Interested? In the beginning, maybe. Before long, it just gave way to total commitment.
Miss Grierson, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed your companionship over those phosphates these past couple of weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. But I wonder if we're seeing each other a bit too frequently. You know how it is in a small town?
Can't say as I do. I'm from the city, remember? Anyways, to show my appreciation, I'd like to invite you to the social mixer at the Elks Club this Saturday night.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
Sure you could. Anyways, it doesn't start till 8 o'clock. All those busybodies with the wagging tongues won't even see us. They'll be in their nightcaps, reading their Bibles, getting ready for church the next day.
I'm afraid the Elks Club is not a place for a person like me.
It'll be perfectly decent. I promise the men will all be on their best behavior for the women.
I'm sure there are others who'd happily accompany you for the evening.
Well, I guess I'd be lying if I said that wasn't true. But the others just don't measure up to you, Miss Grierson. You know what first struck me as attractive about you?
I can't imagine.
That charming, serene look that you have. Like those angels you see in the windows at church. I hope you'll take that as the compliment it was meant to be.
I will.
And I'll also hope you consider the social mixer at the Oaks Club.
I will give it some thought, Mr. Barron.
You know, I believe we've been acquainted long enough now to drop the formality of Mr. and Miss when you address each other. Wouldn't you say so, Miss Greer? Emily.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Homer.
Good. Now, you do some real serious thinking about Saturday night, you hear?
I'll let you know.
Good day, Emily.
Mr. Pickett?
Yes, Miss Emily, what can we do for you today?
I need a lady's shawl.
Yes, ma'am. You want one for church or everyday wear?
Neither. I was thinking something colorful, something festive.
Oh, like for social gatherings and such?
Yes.
I don't carry those, Miss Emily, but I can send over to Jackson for one.
Will it be about Saturday?
Might be if we rush order it.
Will you rush order it?
Of course, Miss Emily. The boy will bring it over the minute it arrives.
Tobe, make sure you give the parlor an extra special dusting this evening. Go pick out some of the sunflowers out back. Put them in the 2 standing vases in the piano. I think the time has come for us to liven things up around here.
It's getting thicker than cornbread and pot liquor with those two.
Well, it's probably the best thing that could happen to her, even though he is a Yankee.
Stop your jibber jabber. Mr. Barron's just enjoying Miss Emily's company while he's down here. It'll all be over once he heads up north.
Yes, her probably jilt her all right.
Just like a man.
Miss Grierson, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed. I hope you had a lovely evening, Emily.
It was quite nice, Homer. And you were right. The gentlemen are on their best behavior.
You dance very well. Did you know that?
Well, I'm sure it's a bit awkward. I hadn't danced like that since Dad used to whirl me around when I was a little girl.
Well, you did just fine tonight. Can I see you to the house?
I'm afraid not this hour. I'll just say my goodnights out here in the front yard.
That's fine with me. As long as we can say goodnight right behind this big old willow tree. You'll get that full moon out of your eyes.
I really think I should go inside.
I think you should too. Right after this.
Please, Mr. Barron, I really think...
It's Homer. Remember?
Please, Homer.
You know, we got a red sky tonight. That means a good day tomorrow. I'm gonna pick you up in the morning for a drive out in the country.
Oh, but I couldn't.
Oh, but you could. And you know something else? That little old seat in the back of the buggy was just made holding a picnic basket. And that's gonna be your responsibility. Now, be sure to put a sizable amount of chicken legs and thighs, and some deviled eggs might just hit the spot too. Good night, Miss Emily Grierson. I look forward to the morning.
Homer, wait! You didn't say I'd go, you know? Never saw a man so sure of himself. Unless it was Daddy. I don't know what to do. I suppose if Toad gets up early enough, he can go fry up the 2 pullets we've been fattening up. But even then, I don't think he can get them fried up by 10 o'clock. And potato salad, deviled eggs, and biscuits? Well, I don't possibly see how it could be done. But I will. I just will. That's all.
Well, how do you like that? Finally get the lock undone and it still won't open. Probably all swollen from the years of humidity.
Revis, this door is nailed shut.
Nailed? What on earth for?
Yes, sir. It's nailed to the jam, from top to bottom.
And over here at the hinges too.
I'll go out to the shed and get a crowbar. If I see old Tom, I'll make him tell me the meaning of this.
There's something mighty interesting in there.
You know what I'll bet's behind that door? A diary, or a journal maybe, detailing the romance between Aunt Emily and Mr. Barron.
It's got to be more important than that.
Anyway, the details of that romance were not relegated to some hidden place behind closed doors. They were exhibited for the whole world to see. Did you see them driving out to the country last Sunday? Him, with his hat cocked, pretty as you please, up on his head, and a cigar fastened between his teeth.
Old Tom Miller said he saw them climbing out of the buggy right near his place, then heading on up to the Paw Paw patch.
And when they came riding back into town, she had her head held up high, just like nothing had happened.
Poor Miss Emily. You suppose it's really so?
It's a disgrace to the town. It's a bad example to the young people.
Now, there's no hard evidence of improprieties here. I say we shouldn't interfere.
She's the one interfering with the morals of our youth. Reverend, you must go speak to her.
But I'm the Baptist minister. Miss Emily's Episcopalian. If she's anything at all anymore. Well, I guess I could have a word with Mr. Barron.
Now, Reverend, you don't have to tell me why you're here. I know I haven't gone to church regularly.
Well, Mr. Barron, it's not exactly the reason
But I can explain. You see, the sidewalk business takes its toll on a man, and so does the only time I have to rest.
And to take buggy rides in the country?
Well, no, that's in the afternoon. I'm all rested up by then. You know, I bet if you offer church services in the afternoon instead of the morning, I'll listen to me carrying on trying to change your meeting time. And I wouldn't even be here to take advantage of it.
What do you mean, Mr. Barron?
Well, look around you, the sidewalks are almost finished. I'll be headed back up north real soon.
Well, are you aiming to take anyone with you? If you get my meaning?
Well, It is something I have to put my mind to, sure enough.
Well, hope you'll do an honorable thing, Mr. Barron. Miss Emily may not always seem as stable as most folks, but she comes from a mighty fine stock. There won't be much of a dowry. We thought her father had quite a bit of money to leave to her, but it didn't seem to turn up that way. Anyhow, a marriage founded on money is like a house built on the sand. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Barron?
100%, Reverend. 100%. I thank you for stopping by, and to show my appreciation, I'll be at church first thing Sunday morning, front pew. And by my side will be Miss Emily Pearson.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Homer,
Good afternoon, Emily.
you hadn't called in a few days, and I just wondered.
Been real busy, that's all, just real busy.
You hadn't talked much about your work, but the sidewalks almost seem to be finished.
We're getting there. Would you look at those fluffy clouds? Just like a flock of sheep. What a day. Bright and pretty, just like you, Emily.
Well, if I do have a brightness about me, you're the one who puts it there.
That's awfully nice of you to say, Emily. Well, back to work, no rest for the wicked.
Homer, wait. What about us?
Well, we're doing just fine, I'd say. Look, no matter how busy I am tomorrow, I promise.
I mean, what about us in the future?
What do you mean?
The sidewalks are almost finished.
That's right.
Will you be leaving? I mean, leaving by yourself?
Now, don't you worry a bit. I'm going to keep in real close contact with you people. And I plan to come down and visit from time to time. I've made lots of friends here, Emily, and none of them closer than you.
I'm more than a friend to you, Homer Barron.
I know, that was just a manner of speaking.
You said you cared for me. Rather deeply, you said.
I did, and I do.
And I express the same sentiments for you. Homer, the relationship we've had could only mean that it was going to lead in a certain direction.
Exactly, that of a long-standing friendship.
Or a long-standing, permanent arrangement. Homer, the time has come for me to know exactly what your intentions are.
Emily, dear Emily, even when you're excited, you still have that charming, serene look about you. Emily, this Sunday I'd like
There'll be no more rides in the country until you tell me what's going
Emily,
on.
now listen. This Sunday I'd like to escort you to church.
To church? Do you mean it?
Well, I said it, didn't I?
Will we be talking to the preacher afterwards?
I'm sure he'll be busy right after the service, but
We can find time to meet with him during the week.
we could certainly think about that. My, would you just look at that sky? Well, I'll see you Sunday. Bye, Emily.
Why, that dear, dear man. He had it planned all along. Here I was, making such a big fuss about it, and he had it planned from the start. Or at least from the moment it truly became his. You know, the thing that makes this so nice, he's the man my daddy approved of. Stencil,
Yes, Miss Emily.
I'd like to order a man's brush set.
Why, certainly. Would you like that in gold plate or silver plate?
Silver, I believe. Can you make some letterings on it?
We do fine monogram work. Costs a little extra, but well worth it. What edges you want, Miss Emily?
HB on each piece, please.
It'll be ready Wednesday. You'll need to pick it up that afternoon since you close on Wednesday afternoons.
A silver vanity set? Why, they're going to be married.
That is wishful thinking.
She was buying him a gift in hopes he'd marry her.
How much does that come up to, Mr. Pickett?
Well, with the tie and the handkerchief, just over $14. But since you're buying so much, I'll take 50 cents off the suit.
Generosity won't be necessary. To complete my order, I'd like to add a man's nightshirt, size large.
Certainly, Miss Emily. The boy will bring it right over.
complete outfit of men's clothing.
And a nightshirt.
Lost in mercy. They're already married.
Did you hear? They finished the sidewalks. The whole construction crew left the town, including Homer Barron.
Homer Barron? He's gone? Without Miss Emily?
That man was paid to supervise the sidewalk paving. That was his only obligation.
Wait a minute. Of course. Don't you see? He's gone on ahead to prepare for Miss Emily's coming.
He's gone on ahead to get away from her.
I was over to the post office. He hasn't sent a single word back to her.
I'm afraid he's gone for good.
I knew it all along. You could tell he was no good by the way he fastened that cigar between his teeth.
Poor Emily, this will kill her.
Or the likely she's gonna kill herself. Did you hear what she bought over at Doc Whitfield's yesterday?
Hello, Miss Emily. I bet you came to the drugstore this morning for a nice, refreshing strawberry phosphate.
I want some poison. I said I want some poison?
Yes, Miss Emily. For rats and such, I'd recommend.
I don't care what kind. I want the best you have.
Well, we've got cyanide, arsenic, strychnine. They'll kill anything up to an elephant. But what you want is
Arsenic? Is that a good one?
arsenic? Yes, ma'am. But what you want is,
I want arsenic.
why, of course, if that's what you want. But the law requires you tell me what you're going to use it for. We'll say it's for rats. I'd have it sent over this afternoon, Miss Emily.
Toe, you know what might be nice? I'd like to set up a little studio in the downstairs rooms and give lessons in China painting to the children. Yes, I think I like that very much.
Well, at least she didn't kill herself.
Though, she might have been better off in the long run if she had.
Was Mr. Barron ever seen again?
Well, he may have come back once.
Somebody thought they saw toe glittering through the kitchen door one evening.
Probably came back for one last night of pleasure, just like a man.
Probably came back for the new clothes and a toilet set, just like a Yankee man.
Probably it didn't come back at all. Just a rumor as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think she actually considered killing herself?
You mean the rat poison? No. Turns out she had wanted for rats after all. Some kind of vermin, anyway.
The new granny right over there drew some rodents into the area. So apparently Toad spread out the poison to get rid of them.
Created a terrible odor.
The board of aldermen were going to send a word to do something about the smell, but nobody wanted to do it. So one night, a few of us sprinkled some lime around the cellar openings and all over the outbuildings. That's when we saw her sitting right there. All we could see was her outline. She looked like a shadow of an idol. In a week or two, the smell went away.
Couldn't find a crowbar, but we ought to be able to force door open with these.
Give me the butcher knife, Will. You work the top part, and I'll work the bottom.
I hope that does the job. I've just got to finish this inventory and catch that train tonight that hooks up Meridian with Birmingham.
I'll take you to Meridian, Miss Meredith, if you missed the train out of here.
You would?
I'm sure Mr. Devers wouldn't mind letting me borrow his buggy.
Who is Mr. Devers?
The man I work for.
Oh, you're not in a family business?
My daddy works in a mill.
I see. I'm sure I'll be able to make that train.
I've been thinking. Everybody thought Miss Emily's daddy left her this house and nothing else. But she always seemed to have enough money when she needed it. Like when she bought those items for Mr. Barron.
It's true, she never earned a dime, except on her China painting classes.
China painting classes?
That was several years later after she temporarily came out of hiding. Dewey was one of her students.
Reluctantly. We were sent by a mother out of the Christian charity. But when we grew up, we didn't see the necessity of it for our children. So Miss Emily's little enterprise gradually fell away.
Never made much on it. Anyways, that was a long time after Homer Barron. I think there's money in this house. I say it's still here.
If it's true, I'm sure Daddy would want to reward you all for helping me out so kindly. What happened after Aunt Emily stopped teaching the classes?
That was just about her last contact with the outside world.
Nobody ever saw her again?
Now and then we spot her in one of the downstairs windows. That was all.
Well, there was that one time, just a few years ago, when the Board of Aldermen paid her a visit about her taxes.
She wouldn't pay her taxes?
She wasn't required to, not for a while, that is.
Right after her father died, the mayor, Colonel Sartorius it was, permitted her taxes on into perpetuity.
Anyway. But then the next generation with their modern ideas became the mayors and the aldermen, and Miss Emily's taxes were called into question.
The next agenda item is the matter of Miss Emily Grusin. Do I hear a motion that we table the next item?
We've tabled the item for 6 months now. We've got to act on it sometime.
I'm afraid our newest alderman is right. On the first of the year, we mailed the woman a tax notice. There was no reply.
Then the sheriff sent a letter asking her to call his office. Still nothing.
Mayor even wrote her himself, offering to send a scarf for her. Will the secretary please report what was in the mail yesterday?
A note from Miss Emily saying she no longer goes out at all. The tax notice was enclosed without further comment.
Why do the rest of us have to pay taxes and she doesn't? I'll bet she's got the money. Her daddy was always putting up prosperous heirs.
It is in the opinion of the Board of Aldermen that Miss Emily Grusin must be paid a call.
Hear, hear!
Who, would like to pay that call? Perhaps we could be more persuasive if we all pay the call. Miss Emily, I think you know why we're here.
I have no taxes in Jefferson. Colonel Sartorius explained it to me. Perhaps you can gain access to city records and satisfy yourselves.
But we have. We are the city authorities, Miss Emily. Didn't you get a notice from the sheriff signed by him?
I received paper, yes. Perhaps he considers himself the sheriff. I have no taxes in Jefferson.
But there's nothing on the books to show that, you see. We must go by what's
So
on
see,
the...
Colonel Sartorius, I have no taxes in Jefferson.
But Miss Emily,
See? Colonel Sartorius, I have no taxes in Jefferson. Tom! See, gentlemen, now. Well, I do believe one of those men was the Knicks boys. He's all grown up now. Too young to be a town official. Still grown up. He was one of the last of my time paying students. Remember those days, Tobe? We had around 18, 20 children all laid out on the floor. Some sitting cross-legged in leather chairs, dabbing their brushes in the paint, creating these little images that never been created before and will never be created again. Like snowflakes, like the children themselves, all the same but different. I don't think I ever had a childhood, Tobe. Daddy wanted me to be a lady. His little lady from the moment I learned to walk. Maybe that's why I love the children so. For an hour, once a week, my hands became theirs, got in the little fingers, shaping the little pictures, sharing the victories. It gave me the chance to be the little girl I never got to be. Why they stop coming? They just stop
Did the door stay closed?
Up until her death.
Did the alderman ask Colonel Sartorius about her taxes?
They couldn't. He'd be dead for 10 years.
Is this her and her daddy?
And her favorite horse, Old Stonewall.
She was pretty.
In her youth, yes.
But she began to fill out a little, and her hair started to turn.
That was what struck me most when I was looking down at her in the coffin today. Her hair. It was a magnificent iron gray.
Her hair turned iron gray before she was 50.
Damn! I broke the blade of the butcher knife.
I'm not getting anywhere with this screwdriver either.
Might be able to break it down, Miss Meredith. But that means you'd have to replace the door.
Bust it to pieces if necessary. I'm just dying to know what's in there. Anyway, I've got to finish this inventory.
Let me get in on this.
Mind your sciatica, Reedus.
Okay, let's try it.
It's gave a little.
Let's try it again.
Stubborn, but it's budging.
Let me help too.
Silas, don't forget your bad lung.
I'm just as determined as the next person who knows behind that door.
Okay, all together. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Honor. 1, 2, 3.
Well, let's have a look.
No, General. I think it's only right that Miss Meredith gets the first look at this mystery room.
Very well. But I do wish we had a lamp. It's so dark in here.
Your eyes will get used to it once you've been in there a little while.
Well, at least I can see the outline of things.
Any hidden treasures?
Not yet. From what I can tell, it's just a bedroom so far. A very dusty bedroom, I might add. Well, here's some nice crystal pieces on the dressing table. And something else. What is this?
Maybe the crystal's what she's hiding.
Lord knows there's not much else of value around here.
What else did you find, Miss Meredith? Miss Meredith? Miss Meredith, I said, what else did you find in there? Of any interest, I mean.
Do we? Go on in.
Now what's that you got?
It appears to be silver. Silver plate, anyway. It's all tarnished.
There's some engraving on it. The letters HB.
The same engravings on this one, too.
That's not all I saw.
What do you mean, child?
What else did you see?
Near the bed, there was a chair. It seemed to have some clothes on it. Men's clothes.
My.
Did you see the bed itself? I said, did you see the bed itself?
No, I don't think so.
Hold this, Will. The rest of you better go downstairs. Revis, you and me have to... Where did she go? Miss Meredith!
No, please, God, don't let it be. Lord, have mercy.
Is it him doing it? Is it him?
What's left of him? His skeleton and an old rotten nightshirt.
Lying in an attitude of an embrace.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
That's not all I saw. Next to Mr. Barron was a pillow where her head was once at rest.
How can you tell, doing? How can you tell?
Because of what I found on the pillow. A long strand of iron gray hair.